How's it going, ladies and Bruce's up, Bobby Sixkilla, and welcome back to the Silver Case. It is time for episode 3 of Yogore, it's time for episode 3 of Placebo, Yogore, apparently. Jeez, I've forgotten what we were even doing in this particular run. It's been a couple of days. You know what my memory's like? Jesus, let's just jump in, alright? Oh, that's right, we're being the detective. Not the detective, the reporter. Yes. Right. Ooh, I have an unread mail. Dead zone. A space with no sound. A silent world meant to make people nervous. In psychological terminology, it is the mental state of achieving a goal, and then losing sight of the road ahead, accompanied by a sense of duty, giving up, and a sense of hopelessness. The place between life and death. Purgatory. But either way, your true nature will be revealed, and you'll have no choice but to act. Really? But I still can't believe that I'm capable of something like that. It's your calling. It's your fate and your destiny. Is it not an order? Unfortunately, it is not an order. I can't give that order. Alright, here we go. Wonder how many chapters there are in this particular storyline. I've forgotten the reporter's name already. I'll go over this once more, but this is a place for me to write about my dreams. This place is saved on an online storage mechanism, and the text is open for third parties to read freely. Why am I even bothering to write something like this anyway? I can't think of a good reason now. It may simply be that writing something, anything, has just become a habit, or a compulsion. Just like how when a person wakes up in the morning, brushing their teeth is a habit or compulsion. Habits and compulsions have stronger power than things with clear reasons. And with that, I'll continue to write about my dreams. The nightmare is set in the 25th ward. So many people have died. Accidents, murders, suicides. They all look different, but they're all the same in the end. The same types of deaths repeated. How many people have died? Not a single resident believes that the figures publicized were true or correct. On the other hand, there is no life. Nobody was born and raised in the 25th ward. The place is a huge morgue. A morgue is where dead bodies are kept. Bodies would be put on display in order to identify those who had died in war or starvation or of sickness. These places existed in the large European cities long ago. And now, the residents of the 25th ward, even if technically alive, were no more than dead bodies. They're lined up nicely in an order on the borderline between life and death. They're lined up so that each and every one can wait patiently for their own turn to die. The residents were all gathered here. A pleasant living room environment. An excellent location. All the latest cutting-edge facilities, etc. Bionic security systems and built-in kitchens and auto-reservation bedrooms. The buzzwords used by the PR firm were all true. But there are also things left unsaid. While the 25th ward provided comfortable living, it also provided a whole lot of death as well. By the time this was noticed, the residents were already busy going to sleep and waking up there, working there and living their lives there. Several days after the 10th death occurred in one of the apartments in those meaninglessly tall towers, a video showing the moment of death made its way around the internet. The people who viewed it apparently fell into depression, but not because it was a real video. Conversely, it was because the unrealistic looking death looked like something from a movie, and it messed with their emotions, made them uneasy. A beautiful woman died on the screen. I knew her. What a lovely way to kick off the episode. Thank you. Oh wait, like it's first thing in the morning, I am ready to get my depression on. It's a bit early to be drinking though, I have to say. Whiskey. Is scotch okay? Anything is fine. Order like that and I'm gonna give you the most expensive one we got. Are you from around here? Not anymore. This place used to have a different name, right? So you used to be a regular, huh? It was called Jackhammer, wasn't it? Yeah, I bought this place with all the furnishings. Did you know the old master? A pervert. That's about all I can remember. Shit. Me too. You're funny. No, I really can't remember. There's no way you'd forget that memorable face though, right? Can I smoke here? There's an ashtray over there. Thanks. What's your name? Tokio Morishima. Ah, where did I put that? Rains of Porto Vehico? The rains that had fallen for 3 days was about to end. It was a cold, dim dawn. I was drinking tea and talking with her in my room. We had conversations like this pretty often. Back then, whenever we had the time, we'd talk. She hadn't slept a wink, but she didn't seem sleepy at all. She told me before that she could go a whole night or two without sleep. To her, insomnia, migraines, and starving herself were like friends, but her beauty showed no signs of any sort of illness. There was a certain sense of class in the way that she did things, like drink tea, to the point where even I, a woman, almost fell for her. Hey, do you have any secrets? She asked me this as she looked at me over her teacup. Secrets? I returned coyly in a low voice. I knew that there was more to her query. Everyone has secrets. You should have some too. Stating things in a somewhat condescending manner was a habit of hers, especially when she was speaking to me. Having secrets. I thought about this a while. I imagined how I'd change if I had secrets. At the time, I hung on her every word, listened carefully, and was extremely interested. I don't like the 25th Ward. Her topics of conversation always change quickly. Why are so many people dying? Because there are people killing them. That was my answer. Who's killing them? The Regional Adjustment Bureau. Where exactly did you hear that from? You know who. She had nothing to say about you know who. Why did the Bureau agents kill the residents? For adjustment. It's just a different word for it. What do you mean? You're just using that term as another word for murder. Yeah, it's a more professional sounding term. Maybe they're trying to finish this systemically. Murder usually has a motive. Feels like we're in some kind of suspense novel, I laughed, but she didn't smile in the slightest. Even soldiers killing people in war have motive. It occurs when they see the enemy in front of them. Then what about assassins? Hitmen who get contracted to kill people. Money. They do too, of course, but the word motive is a bit different. Let's fix that. She stared at me with a serious look on her face, and drank her tea without looking away. You know what sort of word that is? After asking me this, she went back to her commanding tone again. Think hard about it. I thought about it. Then 1 second later I answered, murderous intent. As I said the words, she smiled briefly for the first time, and slowly nodded her head. Damn, that coffee's good. Ah, that's good. Right. Yeah, this here. What the fuck is that? Looks like a dead mole. Oh, it's a turtle. Yeah, a turtle. What is this? The old master left this here. Said that if a guy named Tokio Morishima shows up, then I should pass it on to him. I carved this. Huh? I remember there was some sort of trick to this? Yeah, probably the shell. Making the pattern or something? I wonder what sort of feelings I must have had for her in the beginning. Maybe it was like how a little sister feels about her big sister. Back then I was still pretty immature and naive. But we weren't actual sisters, and we weren't even friends or acquaintances either. I knew that, so our relationship had a sense of fabrication, or something scripted about it. If this was about me and GLG, then I'd be able to concretely say what sort of relationship we had. It was extremely simple and clear and beautiful. A master-servant relationship. He was my master. Any order that GLG may have given me, I followed it to the letter, no matter what. It wasn't a bad thing. For me, being controlled by him made me happy. Being ordered to do something and then have to fulfill that order was pure bliss. She was ordered by GLG to be in charge of my training. He told me, think of her as a big sister, and learn a lot from her. So I did my best to follow her orders, and through that I was able to indirectly feel the same sort of pleasure. What was complicated was that I had one more little sister. I don't know if she was actually younger than me, but GLG told me to think of her as a younger sister and to get along. But she acted more like a real person than me. She She was a stupid and foul-mouthed and sarcastic girl. My big sister was Milu. And my little sister was Miru. And I was Meru. Apart from Milu, GLG gave us those names. I don't think the three of us have ever all spoken together at the same time before. I have no memory of that. We may have once, but I can't remember it. Basically, both Miru and I were trained respectively by Milu. So with regard to Miru, I thought of her as a younger sister who had been brought up in a different place from me. I had a job that I was assigned. My job was talking with men in sex chat. Apparently this actually had educational purposes. I learned about the world through talking in sex chat. I became really familiar with male psychology and sex and sexual deviation. I became able to pretend like I was having sex for hours. What's important is the flow. Just as a sponge absorbs water, I absorb all kinds of new things, and I become able to read the flow of conversation better and better. GLG had told me before that I was in possession of a really amazing ability. Jeez, I can't read today. It's really surprising. Same as every day though. Not even Miru or Milu have that ability. Meru, I want you to try and read into my future. While I could read conversations, I couldn't read the future. So I told him that. But after that, I felt as if the real me was somewhere else. And I felt really uneasy, as though a small dark hole opened deep in my heart. I was afraid that GLG would disappear someday. The real me imagined that, and it made my entire body shake with chills. The real me? That's right. I was a girl who was plugged in. I thought she was an AI. Oh, who knows? Who knows anymore? Like, one of them's real. Milu. Milu's real, and the other two are AIs, right? And the loud, sarcastic girl must have been Kuno. Or Kuro, sorry. Yeah? Kurogasawa? Aha, the shell came off. There's something inside. What's this? You mean you put that in there yourself? Looks like it. What a weird present. Use it. Mail? What's the mail? The mail function is locked. Input your lock number. Ah, so it's locked. My birthday. What? I used my birthday for pin codes. Wow, that's pretty dumb. But I don't know my birthday. What? That's way past simply dumb. I don't... That's right. Since I was a girl who was plugged in, the real me had never met Milu or Miru in person. I simply spoke to them through the monitor all the time. It's the same as how I would chat with the sex chat clients. The only communication I knew was done using a computer that was constantly connected to the internet. Miru was in a similar position to me, but I don't know whether or not she too was a girl who was plugged in. To me it was something I don't need to know, as well as something I don't want to know. I feel like I should talk about the past more now. Oh yeah, I'll write about the first time I met GLG. The first time I met GLG, I was still the real me with an actual physical body. But that physical body was bereft of emotion. Are we just going to sit at the bar all day today? This guy's storyline runs way differently to everybody else's. His job seems to be chilling at a bar. Why don't you know your own birthday? Because I don't remember. Do you have amnesia? I've never had much memory of when I was a kid. But recently I've started realizing that I can't remember lots of other things either. How come? It sounds pretty bad. But sometimes I can remember things. Like what, for example? Like this bar, for one. Oh, this place? Yeah. I felt like if I came here, I might be able to remember more. Ah, I see. What a weird customer. Sorry. Do you have a license? Huh? If you check your license, it has your birthday written on it, right? Oh yeah, I guess so. Looks like I'm way smarter than you. My license? It's in my wallet. My god, he didn't think to check that? March 27th. So you're an Aries. Pin code. So, does it go to, are we doing American dates or European dates? Let's do American dates. March 27th is Aries. You forgot too much. Or maybe the first digit has to be a 0. I did put a 0 in the first digit. Oh, I put in a 2 instead of a 3. Idiot. Whoops. That was right or wrong? It moved on. I was born in the 24th Ward and brought up in a dark underground space called the Shelter. Of the children raised in the Shelter, I was part of the 3rd generation. Up until then, the technology to create completely controllable people had been honed extensively and was implemented there. But there were also many people from the Shelter who turned out to be less than perfect, and a few people who simply could not be deleted for whatever reason. I was one of those who turned out less than perfect. This may make you picture a child who can't really keep up in school, but the reality of this situation was much more grim. Also, I personally do not remember most of the things from my past in the Shelter. Apparently, all of the Shelter kids have the same problem with remembering their time in the Shelter. It's not that our memories have been erased, but that it hurts to remember, so we can't. It was traumatic. It was GLG who taught me all of this. I first met GLG in a somewhat unseemly shop on the outskirts of the 24th Ward. The place was known as a sale club, and every day I would stand behind the counter in front of various types of boys. I was basically one of the shop's products, meant for more perverted customers. Then one day GLG showed up, and the very moment he saw me, he spoke to me. "You're a real girl, right? I'll buy you. Why don't you come along with me?" I have all sorts of terrible experiences with having terrible things done to me by the customers who would purchase me there, but at the time I was completely numb to reality. There were times when I'd wake up in some strange bed in the morning unable to move, and I'd find my lower body covered in blood and all sorts of filth. I simply felt troubled that I couldn't move, having no memory of being shocked or traumatized by it. But there are some times when I get real nauseous in the shop's bathroom. I'd go into panic. When that would happen, the shop owner would give me a kind of medicine capsule. That night, like most of the other clients, GLG took me into a room in a love hotel. But it wasn't the usual cheap, dingy room. It was a clearly high-class VIP room. It had a king-size double bed and a plasma TV. And it had a huge, clean bathroom. And the bathroom had 2 baths that seemed to be for separate things. The fuck is that for? Also, outside the huge floor-to-ceiling window with large curtains, there was a large wooden deck on the balcony. And installed in that deck was a big outdoor bath. GLG removed my clothes and put me in the outdoor bath. He was still fully clothed, and he crouched down in the round white bath and looked at me. At the time, my body was emaciated. My skin had an unhealthy bluish hue, and my bones were visible through my skin. Even though he was staring at my body like that, I didn't think anything of it. GLG held my head kindly in his hands, and he spoke to me. When I said I would buy you, I didn't mean just for tonight. I paid for you to be released from that place. That night, GLG and I slept together in the king-size bed, with clean, comfortable sheets. GLG didn't do anything rough with me at all. In fact, there was nothing of a sexual nature happening whatsoever. Furthermore, he treated me like an independent woman. GLG used one hand to pull a book out of his bag and open it up. He stuck out his other arm for me to use as a pillow and rest my head on. GLG read aloud to me, from a book written by an author named James Tiptree Jr. The book was called The Girl Who Was Plugged In. I was entranced by his voice. Did we get in? Are we gonna get in? What? I guess it's wrong. How come? This license, maybe it's a fake. You mean a forgery? Hey, you're not... I may be. You seem like a dangerous guy. Sorry. Do you have anything besides your license? Just a credit card. But it doesn't have my birthday written on it. What about your credit card PIN code? PIN code? I think it's my birthday. But I don't remember ever having used it, so I don't know. Jeez. Shit. Well then, how about... screw it. I'm gonna close up shop for the day. How come? Nothing. Just kind of... I have a weak spot for dangerous guys. Not a good thing to have a weak spot for. The Girl Who Was Plugged In was a short story about an ugly, gross girl who tries to kill herself and is then plugged into the beautiful man-made Delphi and is loved by everyone and acts as a sort of advertisement. GLG told me that we'd try something similar to this story. His proposal, as far as I was concerned, was an order. After all, GLG had bought my freedom for me, so no matter what he told me to do, it was my duty to follow his orders. Compared to Delphi and the girl who was plugged into her, the communication between myself and Meru, a simple recreation using computer graphics, was extremely low-tech. The job with which I was entrusted was to act as a sort of operator, making Meru speak and move and show various expressions of emotion, etc. The digital Meru was made to look like Milu. Milu's expressions and movements were captured and recreated in order to make Meru. Sometimes responses to clients' comments were displayed in a list in a window, and this was basically a chat program used to support conversation. And this was made based on the conversational patterns of Korda's #1 performer, Milu. To make sure that it would be a hit, controlling the system of girls who were plugged in was not really as difficult as it may seem. In fact, as a shelter child, it was the perfect job for me. Finally, I had made my debut at Korda as a copy of Milu. It really was sort of my fate. Useless girls brought up in the shelter before becoming grown women were cut up and sold to rental shops for rich men to pick up, and before you know it, you're just a virtual woman hooked up to a computer. Until then, I didn't actually have any emotions. I'd never cried or laughed before, but as I chatted with countless men, I gradually started to get all of my emotions back. Actual physical sex and sex chat seemed similar, but are vastly different. The men type out these mysterious phrases. The melons are delicious, huh? Oh, the melons are twitching. Wow, they're so cute and delicious. Stuff like that flows across the monitor. I have no idea what melon was supposed to mean. So the chat program installed in my computer took too long to choose a response and decided that these words made no sense. So I went ahead and randomly said, "Oh really, you like melon, huh?" And the guy on the other side got even more excited for some reason. So I guess it worked. Oh yeah, I love it. I really love it. I love it so much. Oh god, the melon is coming. Oh shit, the melon is here. Here comes the melon. At that moment I laughed. Just a little bit, and the computer graphic Meru also smiled at the same exact moment. After teaching me about what kind of place the shelter was, and what sort of things happened to me there, GLG watched over my rehabilitation. At the time I was doing nothing but repeating the same basic live chat performance at Korda, over and over. But after a week my skills had dramatically improved. I became able to completely and perfectly use the Girl Who Was Plugged In system. Being a girl who was plugged in was really fun. When a person keeps doing something, they find fun. They get better and better at it. I think the GLG had a really good eye for talent. I was a genius at being plugged in. I gradually became able to keep up with the imaginations of all sorts of men in live chat. Meru can also speak out loud, as long as it was via the monitor. She could speak with clients using a mic and speakers. As for the subjects used in chat, they covered everything from spiritual-sounding voodoo-like nonsense to information on the latest cutting-edge gene splicing technology. I became able to talk about anything. I actually have no idea whether or not that was the correct way of rehabilitating me. Basically, I escaped from my own physical being, fused with the virtual Meru, and followed the process of becoming a new independent kind of identity. Ah, my melons! That's not what I thought when he said melon either. I'm not following. Here we go. What's this? This will help you figure it out. So what is it? It's an online skimmer. It skims the magnetic info strip on a credit card, accesses the appropriate server, and automatically hacks in and finds the PIN code. Hey now, that's really something you got there. Some of the neighborhood thugs left it here. How do you use it? It's simple. Let me see your card. Here you go. Okay, here it goes. Transmission. What's that? I just like saying that. Oh, I see. Well, we just do 0, 1, 2, 3. Yes! 0625. What a pain in the ass. That took forever. Oh jeez, nearly put out my headphones. GLG once told me that he was infatuated to the point of almost being a sickness with the poor girls brought up in the shelter. I heard these words through the speakers on my monitor, set up in my sparsely furnished room, connected to my desktop computer. I could see GLG's face through the monitor, and he looked somewhat exhausted. So I went and looked into them, and as I came into contact with them, I found out that when provided with the opportunity to use it, the girls had immense talents. They could be made to blossom. Sometimes, in order to do that, things would get dangerous, but that made it all the better for me. Does that mean you were drawn to them sexually? I questioned GLG. The me in the monitor wasn't the real me, but Meru. I think so. I think that might be my own sexual perversion. Even if they're from the shelter, I don't feel the same way about men. The girl who was plugged in system tried to make Meru smile, but at that time, I went against the system to express my own feelings. I sometimes felt like doing that. Does that mean that you love me? With that, GLG somewhat mysteriously narrowed his eyes and stared at Meru on the monitor, but his mouth formed an ever so slight smile. Yes, that's right, Meru. I love you. I thought that if that was the case, then anything was okay. I had my physical body taken, but I was given a heart in return. It was way better than before. For the first time in my life, I was aware that I was actually happy at the time. Also, I thought, GLG was the only person who could treat me like a proper woman. Truly the only one. Alrighty, back to the bar. We must be pretty sloshed by now. June 25th, huh? So you're a Cancer. We might make a good match. Okay, now to see if I can read this mail or not. She's coming on to you, man. Go. Password? It's the same one then, right? June 25th. Okay, good. I should have written that one down. It's lucky I remembered it for more than 30 seconds. Or at least 30 seconds. There was one man among my live chat clients who knew all sorts of things, and he would share info with me. His name was Shoot. He knew that Miru and I were copies of Milu, and he seemed to know a lot about the strings of death in the tower arose. It happened one day after spending several weeks drinking tea and chatting with Milu until dawn. During one of our live chats, I asked Shoot a question that had been on my mind for a while. All the people who have died were killed because of really stupid reasons, right? Huh? Well, yeah, pretty much, he answered matter-of-factly. I, Miru, rested my chin on my hands, and I looked into the webcam and cutely tilted my head. So they were killed because of stupid things, like, for example, throwing out trash on the wrong day, right? What about it? So at first, it was thought to be organised crime perpetrated by the apartment landlords, wasn't it? That's good, Shoot replied with a smile. You're not exactly right, but you're not far off either. Your guess there sounds kind of ridiculous, but you're on the right track, it's funny. But it was actually done by people called the Regional Adjustment Bureau. Hey now, come on, that's dangerous. I never said that name, okay? I laughed. You're afraid of being adjusted yourself, right? Of course I am. You seemed a bit offended. That's fine, but what I don't understand is a more fundamental point. That is, what was the point of killing off all these people for such a small and ridiculous reasons? Also, most of us residents don't even really think much of it, you know? Do you really want to hear my opinion? Yeah, I do. Okay then. Everything I say from here on is just my imagination, but... Okay, tell me what you imagine then. Just as I thought Shoot had smiled, he immediately stopped smiling and coughed. And then he told me the following He told me the following. The answer is murderous intent. Murderous intent? Basically, living in the 25th ward, you begin to want to kill people. Is that true? Yeah, it is. I really get it. What do you mean? If you live in the 25th ward, you should be feeling it too. I mean, if you're just a program, then I guess maybe you wouldn't feel it though? Then try explaining it in a way that even a program can understand. Okay, I mean, it's basically just what it sounds like. For example, if the person next door throws out trash on the wrong day, then we get pissed off about that. Like, really amazingly pissed off. Why? Because they don't follow the rules. Shoot suddenly became really angry. There was a suspicious gleam in his eye. If it happened just once or twice, then I would understand in fact. I could forgive it. But people can't just toss out their trash whenever they want, every time. That kind of idiot should just die anyway, I think. But that's just like your opinion though, right? It's just my opinion, but a really strong one. In fact, I feel like, why the hell does that guy keep on living anyway? Because we all follow the rules in life. Garbage needs to be thrown out on the day set aside for that. Everyone works really hard in order to keep these rules going. If there's a day when you can't just take out the trash, then sometimes you buck up and live with the stinky garbage for 3 days or so. While nobody can just ignore those rules and live however they feel like it. That's how society works, isn't it? So you don't sort of think that they should die, you feel murderous intent towards them. Yeah, that's right. In the 25th ward, getting annoyed or irritated or getting pissed off at someone always leads to that. And I mean, even so, I don't actually kill anyone though, you know? Then it isn't murderous intent, is it? It is, because one day, when the neighbor who keeps fucking up the garbage ends up getting killed by someone, I'm like, oh well yeah, I guess someone protecting the 25th ward finally killed off that dickhead next door. I sure am grateful for that. Good job, thanks. And I feel more at ease. Like, I feel much better when that happens. I feel like I wish I could have seen the dead neighbor's body and stuff too. More than the fear of me myself getting killed next, that catharsis is way, way bigger. It's a kind of catharsis? Yeah, to the point where you can feel the dopamine release in your brain. Then there's the game called Sudden Death. It's quite popular among the users at Curator. Playing games like that makes it even more fun. Feels great. I keep saying the same thing, but this is all just my own imagination. And to be honest, I love the Regional Adjustment Bureau. It's an absolutely necessary organization. They take care of the dirty work for us. Those guys are the real public servants. Hey, I suddenly remembered about something about Goddess. What is it? She's been throwing away combustible trash or non-combustible trash like every time recently. Seriously? Seriously. She was keeping it secret, but I know that she's been doing it this whole time. Shoot opened his eyes as if he was suddenly shocked. Meru's eyes moistened up. The real me was getting really excited. As my body started shaking, I froze my gaze on the monitor. Is that how she got killed? She knocked on... she knocked on him? Her? Oh my god. Bingo. See? I'll check out this mail. Okay. Please do. Something in the now space, please. Since starting to live as a girl who was plugged in, I, as in my previously separated body and mind, started to finally come together. But as Meru. While I was becoming a person who had emotions, it was only when I was acting as Meru. Even so, it was so mysterious how my warm, heavy body actually didn't just rot away and die. Conversely, as I continued living like a hermit, I did keep myself healthy and full of nutrients, so I continued to gain weight. Maybe my physical body had finally started to develop properly. I don't even know how old I am, but at the very least, it was clear to me that I had not yet reached my 20s. As my weight had become about twice what it once was, I started feeling differently about Milu. Just as Shoot had told me, the fact that she was mixing up her garbage got me so angry that I was no longer able to overlook it and forgive her for it. This is the sort of rule that everyone needs to follow, and it can't be broken. And it also annoyed me that she was Meru's original as well. Furthermore, the fact that she was getting so much love from GLG was becoming unbearable. When speaking to me, GLG was very kind, but there was always this sense that his mind was somewhere else as he spoke, and I could feel it. It was because of her. I thought it would be funny if Milu were to be adjusted. I thought about what would happen afterwards. Milu should die too. She may be a program, and if so, she should be deleted. If that were to happen, only Miru would be left of the three, a total victory. But I felt that was something different from murderous intent. It was a cooler emotion. Maybe it's because I'm different from other people. It was something closer to curiosity, an interest in what would happen if Milu died. I wonder how she would die. And when it actually happened, according to what I heard, the RA Bureau used a strange weapon called a pin stick when carrying out their adjustments. Apparently, it had a long, sharp pin that would stick a person from the back of their neck and reach all the way to their heart. And I imagined it in detail, like a long, thin penis protruding from Milu's crotch. I imagined it in such detail that I actually sort of wanted to try drawing a picture of it. But the bad intentions that swelled up inside my heart never came to shape. And even then, I would meet with Milu via the monitor several times a week, drinking tea and coffee and sometimes alcohol and talking with her. The way Milu spoke was the same as it had been before, to the point where you couldn't even tell she was the sort of person who would mix up their garbage like that. Apparently you've been making all sorts of predictions recently, huh? Milu asked me this while staring into the webcam, as if trying to see what sort of expression I had on my face, even though she knows that Meru is simply computer graphics. Just a little bit, I answered. It was the truth. I just talk about the random visions I happen to get sometimes. I wouldn't call them actual predictions. Do they turn out to be true? I don't know, but the clients like to make up stories about all sorts of comments about them. I guess. So they're not true then. I never looked into it, so I don't know. With that, I gave Meru a somewhat troubled expression. I was happy to think that finally, I was able to keep a secret from Meru. Are we gonna read this mail or what? You can't hold me out on this mail any longer, okay? This entire episode is this guy opening a phone and getting a piece of mail. Shit. What's wrong? I shouldn't have shown you this mail. I feel like this isn't something I should be showing anyway. Sounds to me like you're getting careless. Yeah, you're right. Hey, about your special powers. Does anything come to mind? Yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. It's a bit late for that, isn't it? Come on, just tell me. Well, it's probably that I can talk to dead people. Dead people? People who have just recently died. Also, maybe people who are about to die? Anyway, apparently I can communicate with people like that. I see. Yeah. You know, it's probably not dead people, but their residual thoughts. Huh? Really? You want some more whiskey? Oh yeah, okay, one more I guess. I'll have one too. Well, you've closed up shop, you might as well. Milu dies. On a moonless night, just before midnight, Turtle Guy appears and steals the password. Goddess looks up at the ceiling and suddenly stops breathing. The vision was amazingly clear, so I had just assumed that it was my own wishes and desires that I was imagining. As I was acting naughty with Shoot, I suddenly typed out those words, like I was some sort of automated writing program. But I just could not seem to figure out what part about Turtle Guy appearing and stealing the password meant. Where did it come from? Did it mean something? I had no idea. A turtle guy stealing a password. They sentence sounded like a joke. What exactly was a turtle guy anyway? 3 days before the moonless night, hoping that Milu would somehow be killed, I contacted the Regional Adjustment Bureau, anonymously. When I had that idea, I suddenly realized that all the people who had been adjusted so far were probably adjusted due to other residents reporting their habits too. Adjustments should be something that is contracted by the residents. Using a customer who would talk about how he was able to get his hands on anything via net auction, I obtained an illegal number for a phone, for which the owner's info had been deleted. I used this to make an anonymous call to the RA Bureau. I used my very own actual physical body to make the call. It was actually the first time ever in my life that I would use my own voice to speak to someone over the telephone. Maybe it was because of that, but I wasn't able to report her properly. As soon as they answered with hello, I suddenly froze up and had a ringing in my ears. My mind went blank, and I couldn't think of anything. I knew I had to use words and speak aloud, but I couldn't. I was only able to make a strange sound with my mouth, and so I almost immediately just gave up and hung up the phone. It was completely different from Meru's constantly smooth and cool communication skills. When I wasn't plugged in, I was even more of a useless waste of meat than before. It was embarrassing. So I thought about what had happened. Now I was the one who most wanted to be able to believe Meru's predictions. I felt that Milu could only be killed on a moonless night. Of course, the normal, rational part of me thought that was totally fine. If that were to happen, then I would simply continue to live the same sort of life I'd been living up to that point. But the part of me that wanted her dead just would not go away. The image of her staring at the ceiling with her mouth wide open, looking like a fool, struck through. It was burned into my mind and wouldn't disappear. You are a crazy lady. Please stop. I'm not sure having thoughts like that is normal. Residual thoughts. Oh yeah. I feel like I know that. I feel like I've been talking with them for a while now. Actually, I think maybe even now. Look? How the hell am I supposed to? Damn. I can't figure this out. The night of the new moon. The air was thick, and a chilly wind sometimes blew. That day I was unable to calm down from the time I got up in the morning. Then, when the sun had gone down and you could finally say it was night, I found out that Turtle Guy had appeared. Turtle Guy appeared on Milu's channel at Curator and came into chat, asking for the password for Goddess. I received a mail from Miru explaining all of this. Her mails were always extremely businesslike and formal. The mail, entitled Suspicious User Report, had his handle, ID, and IP address, and the entire chat log was also attached to the mail as a text file. As I was reading the chat log, someone called for me by messenger. I clicked on it to see it was Shoot, and he had told me that just then a stranger had called him at home and offered to give him info about Goddess. All of a sudden, Shoot was told to come to the clock tower in Area 7 of the tower high-rise in 10 minutes, but he didn't seem like he was going to go. He really hates meeting with people. Like me, he really set foot outside his apartment in the tower. I assumed that the person calling Shoot at his home phone was Turtle Guy. I made a quick decision and asked Shoot to give me the number left and his incoming call history. I sent him a message saying, I can get to the clock tower in 5 minutes, so I'll go and take a peek at this guy. As a joke, I'll report later. And left my room. Go. What is happening now? I don't even know anymore. What are you thinking about? The mail? Yeah. You know, I'm a bit concerned. Concerned about what? They say that when you feel like you're being careless, it's good to sharpen a knife. Huh? Really? Yeah, a guy I once dated was like that. There was a huge age difference, and you probably don't care, but... No, tell me about it. It's nothing important. The proper way to sharpen a knife is actually pretty difficult. If you're interested, check it out online. You can find all sorts of ways to do it. Okay. Basically, the fact that it's difficult is sort of the point. It's hard to sharpen it properly, like for an amateur to give it a proper edge. But in order to get it sharp, you need to get a sharpening stone, and just go to town with it. Apparently, it helps chip away at whatever's bothering you too. I see. It probably sounds like bullshit coming from me. But I've tried it out, so I know what I'm talking about. Putting your all into sharpening a knife makes your senses get sharper too, slowly but surely. All the unnecessary garbage disappears, and only what's important becomes visible. Sharpening a knife can do that for you. Have we heard that in this game before, or am I having deja vu? I met with Turtle Guy. I wasn't even able to make out a proper phone call, but I spoke with him directly, and about all sorts of things. I wasn't able to look him directly in the eyes, but I strangely didn't feel fear or uneasiness at all. I knew that he wanted to speak with Goddess, so I made a quick decision, and put on an amazing act for him. I wondered if he worked for the Regional Adjustment Bureau, but then actually meeting him, I knew that it wasn't so. I knew because I could tell that he was the same type of person as me. I'm certain that he still doesn't fully understand himself just yet, that he was definitely brought up in the shelter. Something led him here. Almost like he was sleepwalking, like a lonely animal wandering through the forest, controlled by fate like me. When I thought of it like this, I felt like something was squeezing down on my chest, some strong emotion. How many shelter... There was lots of shelter kids. Is everybody here shelter kids? And we all have special powers. That's right. Sharpening up my mind. That's what I need to do right now. I didn't have a knife to sharpen. I could sharpen the turtle. Red. Okay. And the fake me. The me of the past. What then? Ah! You're just saying the same things all the time. Fake? Why? But I made this. That's for certain. Alright, do look again. Oh yeah. I got a knife and I... Do you? Sharpen the turtle, man. Me of the past, what happened? That was new. I shouldn't remember, but I also shouldn't forget. A warning. There's more here. Okay, that's it. Ah, that was it. What else can we click on? Turtle? That's not new. This is a pain in the bum. Where is this place? Is that it? No. As I finished my meeting with Turtle Guy and went back to my room, I began some preparations. I sent a message to Shoot. I made him promise not to chat with Goddess at 11 PM. Just as I had warned him before, Turtle Guy appeared and stole the password, which meant that the thing we spoke about previously was going to happen. Next, from my closet, I got out a pin stick gun I had procured for me by the same man who got me the illegal cell phone. It was the real deal, with some kind of origami attached. I was confident that I could play this through, climb up behind the ceiling, stab Milu through the top of the head. The fact that I had imagined it in such thorough detail must have been because it was me who was meant to kill her, like this. But did I really possess the murderous intent necessary? I feel like maybe I didn't. At that time, what I felt was a sense of calling. That murderous intent I had held onto for so long until recently was nothing more than an opportunity. Gun and phone in hand, I stood up. She killed her? So it wasn't the RA Bureau. Crazy. So, but the RA Bureau have been the ones that have been killing people up till now, right? Unless they're just the fall guys for actual random murders. Which I don't think. Fill her up again, man. My drink's empty. Come on, bartender. I know you're closing on, but what kind of bartender are you? Oh, crap. It's all decayed into ruin. Because you were talking to a dead person, right? Everything. Oh yeah, her too. I go back to my room. The feeling of firing the pin stick is still buzzing in my hands. But I sit down in front of my computer like nothing happened. Then just as always, I reach out to the same keyboard as usual, with the same fingers. Talking to Turtle Guy was fun. I was able to talk to him several times that day. I called him again after Miru died too. Once Miru died, the entire flow changed. It was me who changed it. I got my hands dirty and changed. I used the phone and the mail I sent from the cell phone to tell him about sudden death. I acted up a storm. It was so exciting. I wanted him to know that Meru could predict things. Soon GLG will disappear from before me. When that happens, it's you who will become involved with me next. That's what I wanted to say. To you, my very existence itself is like a gun with the same sort of pin stick equipped to it. Once again, I sat down in front of my computer and prepared. Turtle Guy entered my channel on Curator. There was something very important that I had to tell him. I had to tell him that this is the beginning. Oh. Not at all creepy. It's our mail, finally. From blank to blank, no title. If you've opened this and are reading the mail, then it's almost certain that the person reading this is me. I'm writing this to myself with that belief. The me of the future has probably lost several memories. Soon they will be coming for me. I have stayed on the run, but it's finally gotten to the point where I can't run any longer. If I get caught, they're going to mess with my head, so I decided to seal off some of my memories. I've been thinking about preparing for this for some time. I decided to use hypnosis to bury certain memories way deep down. If I am ever allowed my freedom again, then that must mean that I don't know anything, can't do anything, and I'm no longer either a threat nor a boon to them. What I mean is, that's you now. So I'm warning you, trying to forcibly retrieve those memories is dangerous. It will only bring you death. They are watching you. Don't ever forget that. At any rate, danger will come someday. You'll need to be ready for it. Your enemy is not one single organization. You're going to need weapons. The super strong sort of weapon I wasn't able to hold on to. You're going to need to find her. She's looking for you too. These special abilities should be helpful. And do not forget this. No matter what, the only one who can stand up against Kamui is Ayame. After I finished chatting, I wrote a mail to GLG. I thanked him for taking me in, even though I was void of normal emotion, for teaching me about shelter, and more than anything else, for treating me like a woman, even while knowing that physically I was a man. Until I was given the existence of Meru, the reason that my body and mind were always all messed up is because I have gender identity disorder. My body is a man, my mind is a woman. I don't know if I was born with it, or if it's due to my life in the shelter. The splitting of genders happens over several stages in between the sperm fertilizing the egg and the birth of the child. Physical gender is set 8 weeks into embryonic development, and mentally, it happens between 5 and 8 months. When this process works out properly, the child's gender matches up both body and mind. So with gender identity disorder, some sort of trouble occurs during that process, and the genders of the body and mind are split up. This is one possible theory. In fact, there are actual recorded cases of this happening. Anyway, precisely because my mind and body were all messed up, the girl who was plugged in system fit me. Meru and I were a perfect match. Although I'm a fake woman with the appearance of a woman, the clients as my audience, my communication with others as a woman, and having felt what it is like being treated like a woman, I was able to find who I was supposed to be. When that happened, for some reason, my special abilities of a shelter child suddenly made themselves apparent. I sent the mail and took a deep, deep breath. I thought about the future, my calling, my fate, my destiny. But why did she have to be killed? And by my hand at that. It's because she was absolutely evil. Because she didn't throw her trash away properly. No, of course not. She was the stereotypical embodiment of Kamui. Kamui? Then what about Ayame? Am I good then? That's not it either. I'm an Ayame believer, but I don't believe in good nor evil. It's just a standoff. If A is evil, then B is called good, that's all. I understand. So the standoff itself is the problem. That's exactly right. Right in the center of that standoff is where he is. And so, because of that, yeah, that's why he gets killed. That must be the end of the chapter. Yep. Ooh, that was a long one. My voice is starting to go funny because I ran out of coffee pretty early on, to be honest. Alrighty. A little bit more information there. All we did was sit at a bar that actually turned out to be completely desolate and talk to a ghost. But that's cool. Gotta start somewhere. You gotta get leads somewhere. Even if, I mean, for a reporter, being able to talk to ghosts would be pretty useful, I would imagine. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.